Dr. Corey is quoted here as saying in her Medium piece, "The school will count me among their diverse faculty, but only if I compartmentalize my Blackness."
It really doesn't matter how educated you are, how well-spoken you are.
My life in America is informed by my racialized identity, but my livelihood is dependent on the comfort of other people.
I came to medical school not to bring diversity, but to bring a presence. I wanted to be the face in the room that a Black patient could look to and just breathe a sigh of relief,
Just learn how to practice medicine, but also learn how to practice using your voice.
I'm very aware of me being the only Black person in the team. So I'm like, oh, are there any other Black students? Usually there aren't. They like to spread us apart, but usually there aren't. And then you look for your residents. Okay, any Black residents? Oh, there aren't any. Okay, my attending. Oh, there aren't any Black attendings on this team. So I'm Martha.
Yep. I'm Adrienne.
We created a podcast called The Medical History in Color, where we wanted to be able to tell the stories of both the past and present stories of Black people and their contributions to medicine, and also not just the contributions, but what medicine has done to them or how medicine has treated them, both in the past and present.
And we wanted to tell the stories of Black students, in particular, Black trainees, Black residents, Black practitioners, and kind of celebrate some of that history too, because not all of it is dour. Some of it is honestly really awesome history that people just aren't aware of, and we kind of wanted to just kind of help people enjoy some of those same things about the history too.
So when I was in class and we would have lectures, we would talk about Black people, and it would always be health risk. They're more likely to have diabetes or hypertension. And those were really the only stories of Black people we were hearing. We weren't hearing of the contributions that they made to medicine.
I also found that whenever you saw Black people kind of come up in our medical education, they come up as the pathology or a group that's being pathologized, instead of a group that has an agency and is actually contributing to shaping medical education and medical interventions and health interventions. And I thought that was something that was really important to kind of shed some light on.
And we would always just have these talks where we'd just be talking and ranting for so long about being Black and being Black women in medical school. And we also used to say, oh, it'd be really cool if we had a podcast. But it was sort of a joking, a joking way. We're in medical school, no one has time.
No one has time.
So lo and behold, I took a year off to do bioethics, and I worked for the Center for Christian Bioethics. And my bosses were they're super, super supportive, and really, I always felt like my voice was always being heard. I think it was actually Dr. Wee brought up a research idea for me, and I was like, I think this would be better if it was a podcast. So I brought it up to the CCB bosses, and they were like, yeah, that sounds great, go ahead. And then they bought me all my equipment. I was like, oh, I know who the perfect person for this. And I called up Adrienne. I was like, Adrienne, let's do this.
Telling the story of medical pioneers and Black medical pioneers allowed us to also bring in the stories of current practitioners and current trainees, right? So you have this really rich history that exists even now within your medical student body, and it's really a unique experience that medical students or Black medical students are having in medical education, and those stories aren't being told at all. Yeah, the podcast is called The Medical History in Color, and you can find it on the CCB and on Spotify and Apple or wherever you prefer to consume your podcast.